Growing up in a Hispanic household is weird because you hear all these weird myths and legends that are brought over from the homeland, things that have been long since debunked. One of them being that aspartame is worse for you than sugar. That aspartame is some kind of chemical that causes cancer, and that the risk is much more higher if you intake aspartame than if you were just to intake regular sugar. Today, I want to dispel that myth because the research is clear on this. Aspartame is safe for daily consumption. For aspartame to have any kind of negative effect on the body, you would have to consume about 17 cans of Diet Coke or about 90 packets of sweetener in one day. That is far beyond than what most humans can consume, realistically or intentionally, in one day. Unless you're doing it intentionally, maybe you're a mukbanger or whatever the case may be, it is difficult to reach levels that would be considered concerning. Sugar, however, is the leading cause of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and is probably responsible for one of the most avoidable deaths in America. The idea that aspartame is this boogeyman is just not true. And if I had $1 for every time my mom would say, I want to drink the real Coke, or I want to have the real sugar, not that fake chemical stuff, I'd probably be a millionaire by now. There's a reason why her generation is leading the race in type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, and obesity. You know, there tends to be this notion in the Latin culture, I'm sure in other cultures as well, that since sugar comes from the ground, it is healthier for you than any man-made version of a sweetener. The truth is that sugar, at least as they speak of, is actually refined sugar. It is sugar that has been taken out of the ground and processed. That processing exposes the sugar to heavy metals like lead, mercury, which causes neurotoxicity and other ailments. There are other toxins involved with the processing of sugar, which are far more worse than aspartame could ever be. And that's the part that they leave out. You know, this whole idea, I like the natural stuff. Well, it's been taken out of the ground and processed. What is natural about it? It's been refined for daily consumption, for mass production, and for fast production. And that's the part that they leave out. You know, just because something comes out of the ground, even if you look at most vegetables are exposed to heavy metals because of the exposure to metals in the soil in which vegetables are planted in. Also, on top of that, these vegetables are processed with fertilizers and other pesticides, which is absorbed by the vegetable itself. Therefore, the vegetable, once it is taken out of the ground or grown, and we consume those chemicals. So this notion that it's just because something is taken from the ground is natural, therefore it's healthier, is just not true. Okay, and trust me, I've tried explaining this to my family members, but it just goes through one ear and out the other. There's literally no point in trying to convince them that aspartame is healthier than sugar. Okay, you can try it yourself. You probably won't go anywhere. And the problem isn't facts. It's just that they're set in their ways, and there's nothing that can change their opinion on something. Their minds are already made up on the subject, similar to politics. So don't even try. Okay. Another thing that gets me, aside from the aspartame slander, is that they'll say things like, "Oh, I like the natural stuff," and then wolf down 10 pounds of bread with their coffee in the morning. It's like, where's the line drawn? You know, you try to figure out, okay, where do you draw the line in terms of like health and fitness? And they can't tell you. They tell you all kinds of stuff just because, most people just like to talk about things that they don't quite understand and all that stuff. I don't know, man. So you do research on aspartame, and I mean, the evidence is all there. It's all public. But the more you look into it, the more you fall into this rabbit hole about just myths that have revolved around the food industry forever. Another thing is like GMOs. You hear about GMOs, genetically modified, vegetables and fruits and all this stuff. Or now the thing is non-GMO corn and this and that. Let me tell you something. If something is grown out of the ground by humans, it has been genetically modified forever. Have you seen pictures of watermelons before humans laid their hands on them? Have you seen what corn looked like before humans got their hands on it? Everything that you consume everything that you see at a grocery store, at the produce section, has been genetically modified in one way or another to be bigger, to provide more seeds, to provide more meat in the fruit or vegetable, to be bigger, more filling, more dense. The reason why is because we have a lot of mouths to feed. It has to be genetically modified because the original versions of corn, watermelon, whatever other produce you can think of was this small and thin. It wasn't enough. It had to have been genetically modified. And even the term genetically modified is kind of a gray area term because if you breed a specific type of produce to be bigger, you mean you select specific seeds that produce bigger fruit, you're genetically modifying the fruit. You're not rearranging the DNA. You're just selecting specific traits that are preferable for more production, more fruit, more, seeds. And you're basically just genetically modifying the fruit. Congratulations, you're in the GMO industry. The term GMO has become a buzzword. Okay, it's the same thing as like natural. I only eat natural chicken breast. I only eat natural this, natural grass-fed this, grass-fed. What do these terms even mean? They're all marketing ploys designed to get more money out of you. Stuff that's labeled natural. Okay, I don't know if you know this. The FDA, there's very loose requirements for something to be labeled as natural. What does natural even mean? What does grass-fed even mean? What does free range even mean? You look into it and you realize that it's just not that much different than the other stuff that people consider to be bad. The non-natural stuff, the stuff that has been injected with I don't know what, right? Allegedly. It's the same product. They just slap a label on it, charge you $2 extra for it, and people go out and pay for it, thinking that they got a better product. It's the same. Free range is a technical term. It just means that they're not in individual cages. If you go to these farms, these chicken farms, you look at the state that free range chickens are in, and it is depressing. It's horrible, the conditions that these animals are in. Free range means fuck all. Grass fed just means that they're fed a specific type of grass. They're in the same enclosure as the other ones that are fed the slop. The product is the same. Okay? The only difference is the label on the packaging, and you're paying extra for no reason. All right? But don't take my word for it. Just look into it yourself. Look at the rules that the FDA has set in place for these types of labels to be used on these products. They're very loose. All right. Most of it is just you have to pay a fee and you're in the club. You're in the natural club. You're in the free range club. The organic club. Another term is the term organic. What is isn't everything that's alive inherently organic? Aren't we all organisms? Are we all carbon-based organisms? Like, what does the term organic even mean? Even by the FDA's own definitions, it's kind of vague. It's intentionally vague because it doesn't mean anything. That's the truth. It doesn't mean a damn thing. So don't get caught up in these buzzwords, things like organic or natural or free range or it's all the same product in the end, just designed to get more money out of you. And here's another term you hear a lot: growth hormones. Oh, this is growth hormone free. This notion that this is free of growth hormones. Yeah, of course it is. They're technically not lying by saying that, right? Because there is no growth hormones in it. But they want you to think that it's healthier for you because there is no growth hormone. Obviously, there is no growth hormones. But that's not going to stop a company from slapping the term organic and saying that it's hormone free and charging you $3 extra for it because you believe the other stuff does have growth hormones. That's not illegal, right? But it's not also ethical for you to fleece people for a few dollars extra. They're not going to tell you that, but that's the truth of them. That's the truth. That's what's going on. And the FDA allows for this stuff to happen because, hey, it's capitalism at the end of the day, you know? So I don't know. These are just a few thoughts that I had because the whole aspartame thing got me because it's been, I don't know why. I don't know who's controlling my algorithms. That's been all the rage these days, talking about aspartame, this and that. And, you know, I've been an aspartame head for a while now. And the number of times I've had to explain to my family members that aspartame is a lot safer and better for you than sugar has been too high for my liking, you know? So I don't know. Take it for what you will. It's just my 2 cents. All right.